All right, first and foremost, I'd like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, YHWH. Welcome back to our weekly class, Yahweh's Witnesses, where, normally we do a historical reading of an extra biblical text, a history book we have. Today, however, I'm gonna be going over a breakdown on what it means for the elect that aren't defiled of women. Because if we read a couple versions, this says not defiled by sexual activity, but we're going to see that that's just Esau being sick because, we'll see what is likened unto a woman. So we're going to start off with the scripture in question, Revelations chapter 14 and we'll read verse 1 for verse 1. Oh, let me see. We'll read verse 5 to kind of give you who it is. Well, let me see, verse 1. Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. And I took, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sion, with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. So now that it was verse 1. Now that we got the topic, we know who it's talking about. It's talking about the elect, right? The 144,000. Let's skip down to verse 4. These are they which were not defiled with women. See that, and that's the phrase in question. These are they which are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. Right? So the question is, what does it mean when it says these are which were not defiled by women? Right? So first, let's see what the first commandment, because we know, matter of fact, we're going to go into Malachi chapter 3, verse 6 real fast, right? Malachi chapter 3, verse 6. And why are we going to go there? To prove a quick point, and then we're going to go into the first commandment, the first commandment ever given to man. You feel me? This is the book of Malachi chapter 3, verse 6, right? For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed, right? So we can establish for sure that the elect are the sons of Jacob and that he doesn't change. Now, let's read the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 14, right? Verse 28. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. And the Most High, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. If we go to verse 27, it said, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Right? So he's telling the man and the male and the female of the human species to go be fruitful and multiply. So how did he choose somebody like that? How did he choose these people, right? Let's go to another commandment given, right? We'll go to Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. These are in the law. Why? Because if the redeemed are of those that have never been touched by a woman, quote unquote, why are these laws in here, right? Be fruitful and multiply. He told them to go have as much sex as they can, right? To replenish the earth and have people all over it, right? So let's go to Exodus 21 and 10, right? Let's see what else the Most High says about that, right? If he, a man, take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage. Duty of marriage, remember that. Her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. What is duty of marriage? Your duty of marriage is you to satisfy your woman sexually, right? So the Most High is making it a law that if you take a second wife, you can't even take the sex away from your first wife. So then what is it talking about, right? It says that they didn't know it. When you go from one to another, that's a whoremonger or a whore, right? Or clearly it's a whore, right? So let's go to Judges chapter 2 and verse 17. Let's see what Israel is known for doing, right? Judges chapter 2 and verse 17. Judges chapter 2 and verse 17, right? And yet let me see, verse 16. Nevertheless, Yahweh raised up judges which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but yet went a-whoring after other gods. They went a-whoring after other gods, right? And bowed themselves unto them. And they turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of Yahweh, but they did not so. Right? So they went a-whoring after other gods. Right? Let's turn to the book of Exodus chapter 34. Let's go to Exodus chapter 34. Exodus chapter 34, we're going to start at verse 13, right? Exodus chapter 34, verse 13, 11. Let's start at verse 11. Observe thou which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare and a midst to thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, cut down their groves, for thou shalt worship no other God, for Yahweh, whose name is a jealous power, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a-whoring after other gods, and sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee out, and thou eatest the sacrifice. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods, right? So he's telling you what's going to happen in Exodus. When what happened in Judges, they went a-whoring up after other gods, right? So now we see that. So now we're seeing what it means to be defiled by other women, right? Because it's going a-whoring after other gods. But how are we going to establish that? Let's go to, no, we're going to finish out with that. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 22. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 22, right? Before or after Wisdom? Salakia, brethren. No, not this is the end of the apocrypha. So, Salakia, brethren. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 22, right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 22. As for wisdom, what she is, remember that, what she is, the spirit of wisdom is feminine. As for wisdom, what she is and how she came up, I will tell you, and will not hide mysteries from you, but will seek her out from the beginning of her nativity, and bring that knowledge of her into light, and will not pass over the truth. So now we see that wisdom is a feminine spirit, right? So if we're whoring after the gods, we're going after other places of wisdom. But we're going to establish that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 31, verse 26. We're going to stay a little bit in the writings of the wise brother, our wise beloved King Solomon, right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 31, verse 26. With Proverbs chapter 31, verse 26. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Right? So when we're describing the perfect wife, we have to see that she has that spirit of wisdom. And what is in there? She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. We're going to get to what that law means in a second. But let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7 and verse 25. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 25. For she is the breath of the power of God, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore, can no defiled thing fall into her. Therefore, can no defiled thing fall into her. So what? When you defile yourself with these other gods, right? You can't follow into wisdom, right? You can't follow into that woman, right? But let's see where this woman this calls out. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 20. And Salakia, I'm moving fast because we'll be up by the morning, so you can catch up, those that are listening to the recording. But let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 20, right? See where wisdom uttereth that, right? Proverbs chapter 1, verse 20. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttering her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Right? So we know that wisdom is crying in the streets all the time, right? We're the bringers of wisdom. We bring that woman out every weekend, right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 9, verses 1 through 5, right? Because we have to understand what wisdom brings to us, right? And who that woman, these women are, right? The book of Proverbs chapter 9 from the top. Wisdom hath built her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts. She hath mingled her wine. She hath also furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Come eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding, right? We're going to see what the way of understanding here is in a couple seconds, right? But let's see how it is like. And let's go to Proverbs chapter 5, verse 15. Proverbs is a lot of explanation on what wisdom is, right? And we remember reading in Exodus how we aren't to go into these Canaanites or even into these other religions, right? These other, which is wisdom for the other nations. So let's see how that works, right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 15, right? Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters of thy own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of water in the streets. Let them be only thy own, and not strangers with thee. Lest thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Verse 19, let her be as loving, let her be as loving as the loving hind and the pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee all the time, and all thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger, right? Let's go into the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verses 6 through 13. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3, right? Why do we do that, right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3, and we'll start at verse 6. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 6, all the way to verse 13. Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, Hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel hath done? She is gone up upon the high mountain, and under every green tree, and there hath played the harlot, right? Hath played the harlot. What's a harlot? Una arrastrada, una cualquiera, a hoe, right? A woman that goes wherever she pleases, right? Verse 7. And I said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me. But she returned not. And her treacherous sister Judah saw it, and I saw when for all the cause whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, right? What does it mean to defile yourself sexually? To go commit adultery. So what did we do? We committed adultery, right? I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and with stocks. Right? So what has the children of Israel predominantly done? And what are they looking, those Israelites that haven't done that haven't defiled themselves, right? And yet, For all her treacherous sister Judah hath not turned unto me with her whole heart, but vainly saith Yahweh. So we see now how even in the days of YHWH, the Jews were there, but they weren't all the way there. They picked Caesar, they picked Barabbas, right? Verse 11. And Yahweh said unto me, that the backsliding Israel hath justified herself more than the treacherous Judah. Verse 12, go proclaim these words towards the north and say, return thou backsliding Israel, right? So go to America and proclaim these words. Said Yahweh, I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, says Yahweh. I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge thy iniquity, thou that hast transgressed against Yahweh thy power, and hast scattered thy ways to the stranger under every green tree, and ye have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh. Verse 14, turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, for I will make you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. Right? So we see that the Most High is even married us. He'd liken us to a woman as well, but the woman that we're not to be defiled with, if we're paying attention, is these other doctrines, these other gods, right? Because we went a-whoring, right? Let's prove that and see how the Most High has redeemed us. Let's go to Hosea chapter 1 and verse 2. We could see an example of this, right? Hosea chapter 1, verse 2. Amos, Joel, Hosea, Salakia. Hosea chapter 1 and verse 2. The beginning of the word of Yahweh by Hosea. And Yahweh said unto Hosea, go take thee unto thee a wife of whoredoms, and the children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from Yahweh. Right? So we see how we've been a-whoring, right? We've been going here and we've been going there. Right? Let's go to let's establish who this woman is, who wisdom is. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, right? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my God commanded me, that ye should go into the land, whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them. Now you remember, defiled by these other women. We were told to do these to hearken unto these commandments and do them, right? But let's keep going. Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding. Right? So for our wisdom and understanding is the law of God. That woman the woman of our youth, the wife of our youth, is the laws of God. Right? Because we look at it, what is it saying wisdom is? A feminine spirit. What is our wisdom? The law, statutes, and commandments. This is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this is a great nation, is the wise and understanding people. Right? So as long as we're married unto them, we're gonna seek salvation. We're seeking salvation. Let's finish out with Matthew chapter 25 as we go into the words of YHWH and to show you the 10 virgins, right? And what happens when we depart from wisdom, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 13. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. The 5 of them were wise, and the 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, right? Again, the law is a lot of things, right? So the oil is the understanding, the woman we're supposed to stay with. They were foolish and took their lamps, but took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels and with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out and meet him. Then all the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And all the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. right? So give us some of your wisdom. Our lamps have gone out, right? And but the wise answered and saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. Right? So go out there to those that are given that wisdom and get it yourself. And while they went out to buy, the bridegroom came, and they were ready, and went in to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open up to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So we got to always keep the laws, because we don't know when YHWH is coming back, and when we're going to have to be extremely ready. But that's the breakdown, brethren. I hope you guys got an understanding. For those of you listening to the recording after, any questions, leave them in the comment section, or or reach us or there's a way to reach us in the description of the video. Preferably text for the phone number via email or text. Ask your questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Those in the class, I'm going to answer your questions right now when the recording stops. But with that, I'd like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, YHWH, and we say Shalom.